as written in the code. So that's not, this group would just be, are the standards, is this what we want to set the standards as? And so this draft was developed, or this set of standards was developed, and there is some opportunity to refine this somewhat. But it's mostly, we're mostly focused on this point in trying to get them adopted into the coastal zoning ordinance and the Montecito land use and development code.
Okay, so like what we're looking at here is, this is talking about the review process. This is the review process for developing the objective standards.
Yeah, so this is actually, so if you keep scrolling down a little bit, if you don't mind. So this is, there were two things that were passed at the same time. One was a ministerial review process.
Okay.
With a different Senate bill, that's Senate Bill 35, which is a really specific set of ministerial approvals. So what we're working on now is this additional section. Sorry, if you keep going down a little bit more.
Section 2?
Yeah, here. Chapter 35.33.
Okay. So this is the actual code that would be used in the essentially your objective review standards. This would be the standard. That's what we're looking at, is the proposed code. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
This is what has actually already been adopted into the land use and development. Yeah.
Because of the state law.
Right. A slew of state laws.
Yes, well, I was saying law in the overwhelming, encompassing sense.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so that's like for here, this is the one we were just talking about. So there's a design review exemption. And this is what will be using. Okay. And then let's talk about, yeah, okay. Corner lots. So basically you're creating a checklist.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is the part, this is the juicy bits that we would be most interested in, I would understand or expect. All right, I see.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ask.
Normally the mixed use and multifamily housing would go through the design review board before these Senate bills were adopted. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So now, in order to expedite construction, this is in place to help control the design.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's certain specific, features that these projects need to have to be able to go through this process rather than the discretionary process. So the discretionary process will still apply to some, but more and more the state is pushing projects into this streamlined review.
Right. Okay.
Bethany?
Yes, Puck.
What is the time frame for this review? When you said 1 or 2 meetings, how much time do we have to provide like written input or?
So we're hoping to set up the first meeting within the next couple of weeks and kind of go from there in terms of what kind of feedback we get and how much people want to revisit or come back to things. It's possible we could get through this in a meeting, but we wanted to say 2 meetings in case we needed the additional time. But we're hoping, we're trying to get drafts of these completed. Our timeline is by the end of November. So we're hoping to get feedback in the next couple of months.
And I'm sorry if I missed it, but where is this document available?
So it's available on the county's website as an amendment. These are some of the more recent amendments that haven't been included in the Muni code yet. So they're still standalone documents. I can send you the link to them in addition to.
That would be really helpful to just get the direct link.
Sure,
Thank you.
no problem. Were there any other questions, or is anyone interested in volunteering?
Are we back? Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, we lost you. We lost our connection and got kicked off right in the middle of a comment Lila was making, and then Puck said something. The last thing we got was you were looking to do drafts of the completed, and that's where we lost you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So we are hoping to get feedback within the next month to 2 months and have drafts complete by November.
Okay. All right. I have, Alan's not here today, and he expressed interest in being a part of this. Anybody else?
Right here.
Oh, Denise wants to be a part of it. Puck?
I'm out of, if the first meeting is, well, it just really depends on when I'm interested in this. I just don't know when if I'm going to be in town. If it's the first couple weeks of August, I could make it.
Lila?
Yeah, so we're hoping to do it within the next 1 or 2 weeks. This is our last time visiting a BAR looking for a representative. So we are.
Yeah, we're the last one. We're the last BAR to have this presentation.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just go to the link and send my comments. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's great.
And
Okay.
I would send them to who?
You can send them to me directly.
We can have Teresa provide you with that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We'll get that.
Okay.
But my question.
Uh,
Oh, no.
we lost them again. We have the worst internet service up there.
It's so frustrating.
I mean, it's incredible. I have better internet service where I am right now in the Adirondacks, in the middle of 6 million acres of woods than those guys do.
I was admiring your house. It's very sweet. I'm from Vermont. So I was like,
Oh,
I'm very familiar about this place.
yeah. It's we go we drive over to Essex and take the ferry across Champlain to Burlington.
Oh, nice.
On again? No.
They may just be muted.
Hmm.
Okay, can you hear
I think she's back.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes.
I can hear you, Bethany.
Okay, we could hear you all the way along. You two were talking and saying, oh, we lost him again. It's
Oh.
one computer. It's the host computer here is the one that's losing it, but mine still had you, so we could hear you, but. Okay, so back to what I was asking, which was Robin's question is, are these meetings with the BAR representatives virtual or in person?
And they will definitely be virtual, and we are considering an opportunity for in-person as well.
So a hybrid kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if everybody's okay with it, it sounds like Denise and Alan are both interested. Can we have 2 people?
I am going to have to get back to you about that. Alex Tuttle, our deputy
Mhm.
director, was trying to keep it to 1, but was considering 2. So let him make that decision if that's all right.
Well, I think it could be, we have 2 people who are both interested, very interested, and I would hate to have to flip a coin.
Yeah.
Or pick one, although it would go to Denise. So, I think, is that everybody comfortable with that?
I would prefer
To have
Yes.
Denise?
to, and
Yeah, our preference is that both of them participate, but if we have to go with one, I think we're gonna have to go with Denise.
Okay.
Or they can decide amongst them, but I think. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave it at 2, both of them, and I'll leave it with you to follow through with Teresa. She's got their contact information, so.
Okay, great.
And then Bethany,
Yes, ma'am.
for comments, then everybody on the board will get the correct contact information and link to
Yeah,
send comments in.
Teresa can provide that.
Yes, I'll gather that information and send it to you.
Okay, we also have people who are attending, who might have a request to speak, because this is a noticed item. So I'm gonna go ahead and call for public comment. Anybody here wish to speak on this item? That's a big no.
And then we do have 2 people online. If you wish to speak on this item, please raise your hand. We have Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah, good morning, Tony Cano here. I just have a general question for those projects that are currently in the land use permit process review and have either otherwise been reviewed by NBAR or CBAR. How does one renew their reviews or take advantage of exemption?
or how does it apply to the project that's in process? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just specifically, I've got a project that has been under review. But if this is an avenue where we can have move forward in an expeditious fashion, then it would certainly be favorable to the owner.
Lila, can you speak to that?
I am not sure that I can at this moment.
Okay,
I apologize. I think I would need to speak with development review staff on that.
okay. Because that's actually an interesting question, because
Yeah.
we've had projects that were subject to, I think it was SB 8. But, you know, it was like, it had been marching along in front of our board and this, I think of 2 projects actually, and 1 in particular. And then all of a sudden it was like, you can't go to the BAR. And the applicant was straight up told, you can't. And they were like, but we want to. So there was this kind of, you know, push pull and of course there'll be projects that don't want to, you know, who wish to be part of the exemption and streamline their process. So it'll be interesting. That's going to probably be that would be one of my first comments, I guess, to you as a submittal is, how does this impact projects that are in process? Because that'll be pretty critical. So. Okay, Tony, is that it? Is that your?
Yes, thanks for clarifying, and I appreciate the comments.
Tony, we can follow up with you individually if you'd like, once I can get an answer for you. I apologize that I don't know.
No, I understand. My specific planner is for a Los Alamos project is Adam Orta, and he was the one that had suggested that this would be coming about. So I'm quite interested, and I'd love direct contact with you.
Okay, yeah, I can speak to Adam and we can connect.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tony. I don't see anybody else.
We do not have anybody else.
Okay, so let's go to item number 2, which is John Sebastiano Winery, Tier 3 Winery, 22 bar 178. Denise is stepping out.
And I am stepping off. So
Okay.
call me when I can come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Taking the chair.
I'm Tom Taylor. Architect for projects. Thank you guys for all being here and over your public service to the county. So some of us were at the site this morning, so I think that we have a pretty good idea of what this project looks like and its proposed location. How do I get control?
You don't.
Okay.
You gotta sweet talk me. I got control.
Chat up here for a few minutes and then you guys, then I'll sit down.
No, you can tell me where to go in the plans. I've got them all up on the screen. So which one you want to look at?
I have with my associate, Dan Lau, who's put together the information for the site study, so that we went through in order to establish the building location. And I think I might want to have Dan for you to kind of review that, because you're a little bit more. Why don't you take that to that first, and I'll come back and talk a little bit more about the buildings and things like that. Thanks.
Is this what you want to see?
It would actually be a bit one.
You got it.
It's kind of a big file. But this is basically the white dot line is the entire
Right.
property.
And this one's known as parcel 2, right?
That's correct. So the project site or proposed project site is located
Right there.
Yeah, right there. But we feel that this is the best location for the site because there's some reasons. We looked at the entire site with as a team and looked at the various locations, and this kind of came as a best case scenario for us because there's already an existing road, an existing turn from Highway 246. As you know, some of you saw from the site visit this morning. And then, so we feel that it will take advantage of the existing road entrance. And also locating the building here would minimize the road length, minimizing our cut and fill required for the project and the disturbance to the property. And we looked at the site contours as well, for what's required for the entire development, including the overflow parking, the process, waste management areas, the leach field, and this seems to be a site location for all of those components. At the same time, it was also clear of the CTF on easement. And I think that we determined from the story poll and staking exercise that this is outside of the hillside ridgeline requirements. So we carefully looked at that. And we just also feel like this building location tucks it into the natural surroundings. So alternate, I guess I can go over the other site locations that we looked at. there's an alternate site area 1. That's kind of by the other, existing road entrance.
right,
And it's where the existing residents and, there's an existing barn there. And so that was actually one of the first places that we looked at. But it seemed like it was really close to the road and it would make it much more visible. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't put the building there. And then at the same time, it's also really close to the existing water tank. And you would have to be careful about not disturbing the existing water lines around there, or the city of Beaverton. And then we looked at another alternate site area, 2 is what we call it. It's a little bit north of that. With a big white circle.
Yep.
Yeah, and that one is.
that one there.
In this little valley. And it seemed like a nice spot, just because it was up the way from the road, but it's not a big enough development. We would end up disturbing the existing vineyards and, we have to take out a few trees and. Yeah, just to include all the overflow parking, wastewater treatment, stormwater treatment and all that. It would require a lot of, removal of those existing site elements. So, I also want to point out that we have all of these areas where there's an arrow, and there's the word steep in it, and what that means is that, those are the areas where we have over 20% slope around the entire property. There's a lot of that that's I saw at the site this morning. And so that's very limiting as far as where we can build. And then we have another alternate site area 3, at parcel 2 that we looked at as well, and that's relatively flat, close to the road and existing road entrance. But as you can see, there's that green highlighted portion and also the blue highlighted portion that it depicts where the California Tiger Salamander residents are. So it limited our development area there, and also much more adjacent to the road. That's kind of how we arrived at that spot.
Okay,
Right.
And then almost like to point out that we wanted to try to minimize the amount of grading and the length of the road in order to access the property. You know, just because the amount of disruption for a county crew road is significant. And we're going to try not to put in miles of road in order to access this property. So I guess I'd like to focus more on the buildings at this point, building, I should say. Maybe we could go to the site plan.
okay, this one,
Yes,
that's the story full plan.
yeah, that's probably, actually, maybe it might be worthwhile to hold that up for just a second, so that those that were out at the site might be able to sort of better understand what we're seeing there. So the part where that's pointed out with the box there, there's the one gable end, and then there's the main gable that runs left to right. That was intact on the property, and
This one,
you got to see that without the demo of the cows. And
They
then
took
once
down
the
this
back
one.
was laying on the ground.
correct.
Okay.
Yep, and I think this was the post that was still there, one of
Yeah,
these
it's the
two.
back corner. So we were saying that the building, the length of the building was established.
Oh, that's right, it was this one.
It was, I think it was the back one on the left.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So we were using the building as a screen for some of the grading and development of the project to screen out the parking. We have a necessary amount of parking because of the scope of the project, pretty extensive parking requirements. In addition to the overflow parking that we wanted to keep down at the bottom of the hill in an area that's already been unnaturally disturbed. Where the cows currently are. basically is where we're proposing that parking. Our goal is to try to minimize grading and set the building in a location where it could be, surrounded by new trees and vineyard and, really sort of highlight the foreground of the building. The road works quite easily, we were very happy with the amount of, the steepness of the road and the ease of which the parking is accessed in this location. And that was really one of our goals here. You can see there's a pretty minimal disturbance of grade for a project, it's of a fairly large scale. I mean, this is a tier 3 winery. It has a high production level, and our office has been designing wineries for 30 years. We know what a winery project needs in the way of program and development and square footages, and if we feel as a designer is appropriate to the program. Maybe we could go on to the floor plans.
Okay, I've got exhibit 2. That's
This
your,
is
yep.
the exhibit for
your staking,
the
yep.
100-foot perimeter, and it's sort of a great relationship to determine that the
Okay.
building it qualifies.
Okay, so I've got this one. I got this one.
Yeah. Keep going.
And
Yeah.
The architectural.
Okay, and then I guess we want to maybe just hold on this cycle for a second. As you can see, what we have here is we, pretty developed landscaping around the project, including a small amount of vineyard. There's vineyard on the property now. That's really the primary use of the property. Actually, the reason that we're doing this project is that the owners had this property for quite some time, and it has been growing grapes and, has cattle and renting the property out for ag. But honestly, kind of felt that he's kind of maxed out what he thinks the property is purely a vineyard. And he feels that he needs to take kind of the next step in the whole winery process in order to make better use out of this property. And so that's where the need came from in order to build a winery project here. We have, since you have that color board, we have materials here. Our intent is that these materials are going to be earthy, dark, agricultural looking. We have natural stone, plaster. The plaster that we're actually going to use is quite a bit darker than what we're seeing on the screen there right now. That kind of tends to get washed out. Wood cider and a dark, non-reflective metal. Yeah, we can go let's scroll down to the four lines. I think you guys have seen the visual studies. I won't take you through pretty detail on the design of the building, but generally, the hospitality in the building is the view in looking toward the highway, and then we have kernel storage and production as we go up the hill. The winery follows the very sort of slightly modified gravity flow, with all the production end of the building being away from the road, blocked out by the building. And also on the opposite end of the building for hospitality, so that they don't disrupt each other. With current sort of business practices, in order for a winery to be viable and even remotely buildable, there needs to be a significant hospitality component. Everybody pretty much has to sell their wine directly to the customer these days, otherwise there's no possible way to make a business out of it. So that's why we have, you know, what I would consider to be a pretty extensive office hour program here, around our square foot, which dedicated to that. It really is the only way to make a project like this. But, you know, we, you know, really pretty much refined the production process in this building, and we know how they operate. We have the benefit of having done a winery for this owner previously. And so we have a current winemaker that we work with in order to develop a really streamlined winery production process.
Could you explain this building and this one? The process doesn't tell me much, and I have a limited amount of time for you to get through your project. So if you can please address, you know, orienting us to the floor plans and how they sit on the site and get us through the elevations and through the project. So we're kind of stalled out a little bit. So can you explain how this floor plan and this is the second floor, I take it?
It's a terrace building, so there is a partial second floor, but primarily what's happening is that there's about 12 feet of finished floor difference between one side and the other, and so they
Okay.
do. There is a little bit of stacking here, but I think probably if you go down to the elevations.
That'll show it. Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at the top elevation, we're looking at the opposite side of the winery from the road. When we went out to the site today, we were standing at that front door there, right there, and we had that gable roof with the historic poles.
And this is the one that fell down.
That's right.
Got
And
it.
so what we're looking at here is the dashed line is the existing grade. Yeah, there we go, right there, yeah. So we're terracing the building up to follow grade, and the part in the middle, which is barrel storage, is all one floor with a 20-foot something ceiling, because we need the volume there to be able to stack the barrels. There's a small second floor area above the sort of in the entrance area in the backside of the building. But really what we're talking about here is primarily it's all one story building. It just follows grade.
Okay.
This is the roadside view. And we tended to want to minimize windows on this side to some extent, and instead try to rely upon a little bit of landscape screening to sort of soften up that end of the building. And then the bottom elevation, that's the uphill side, the receiving area, production area.
Intersections.
Yeah, this section I think helps a little bit in kind of understanding how the relationship the grade to the building.
Okay. Light fixtures, but we don't have a plan for them?
Like pictures on the drawings. No, they're on the landscape and the
Okay.
architectural ones.
So this is duplicative information. Okay. This is your grading. Okay. And we looked at the slope analysis, I think, that's your first exhibit, and we're back to landscaping. And then, is this something that you need to go over? Or
Yeah,
is
this
this
is our-
more for planning?
Yeah,
That was a question.
Yes, that's the response we provided to the one approved.
Okay. So, do you have anything you need to say, Scott? Because I need to wrap up your presentation.
I'll be quick.
No worries.
Just to run you through our sort of plant palette that we're thinking, mainly California natives, and grasses, manzanitas, ceanothus, and then trees, typically staying with olives and oaks. So as you enter the property, there is that, embedded parking, kind of lower overflow parking, which would be just a brown shell, trees and minimal landscaping that would help soften it. The road coming up to the winery, would be expected to feel as you enter through that main parking lot. Again, those are the olive trees and planting surrounding that parking, with some stone, pathway accents through the middle there, as well as before you get to the door. As you go up to the upper parking lot, again, just added trees and vegetation that won't top in that area. We've wrapped those oak trees around on the west side to help soften it a bit and screen again from the road there. And then towards the south, we have a terraced patio. In the center there is a little water feature, and then it does drop down about 30 inches to a lower terrace viewing patio. We do have a ADA ramp along the side there to get you down as well. In the center, that L-06 is a covered shaded pergola structure that is, yeah, within our homestead courtyard area. And yeah, so that's kind of the rundown for the landscape. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have any quick questions from the board before I go to public comment?
Question on the landscape plan?
Yep.
At the far south, is that a wall?
This-
Those planters?
Yeah, yeah. Those are 30 inches.
Are,
30 inches.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. There's two walls.
So it's a
It's there.
depth retaining, terrace retaining.
Yeah.
Okay, any other quick questions? Yeah, okay.
Questions about everything that.
These are just questions for clarification. This is not our comments.
Wanting to do the grade.
The grading,
Explain.
this one. That's the lower, it's the upper. So you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the amount of grading of cut. And I assume most of that is for the main structure and the road. There's not a whole lot you can do about that road. It's really steep. And what is the material for the road? I imagine it has to be paved.
We had, that fault to take it down.
Okay,
It is soft, it won't be as steep as what it currently is.
I'm sorry?
It won't be as steep as what it currently is.
Okay, right.
Because the way it is, it's been like a hill, where it'll reduce the slope down to the low.
okay. My phone. Any other quick question? Nothing for you? Okay, Tina, you wanna, hold yourself, I'll ask you if you wanna do any comments, but I'm gonna do public comment first, and then you can. Okay. Public comment, do we have any public comments?
So we do not have anybody in our audience today. We do have 2 people that joined online. If you do want to speak, please raise your hand. No one is raising their hand, so no public comment.
Okay. Let's see. Yep, just had to make sure that it wasn't a fuck or anything, asking when she could come back. Okay, Tina, you want to, you have anything to add at this point?
I don't think I have anything to add.
Is there any kind of feedback specifically you're looking for from us?
I would, I put visual resources policy too in my plan memo, just for you guys to look over, and if you have input on that. Obviously, historic holes is pretty telling on skyline issues, but there's also other factors that go into kind of camouflaging into the hillside that it would be good to get your input on.
Okay. So this is policy 2, this is the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you guys don't mind, can I start? Okay, let's see, which one do I want? This one, okay. So, I want to talk about, first of all, your alternative sites and your proposed site. And the first thing that that I'd like to note is that if we're going to talk about visibility and issues raised by visibility from assuming 246 is what we're talking about here. All three of your alternative sites are much better. They have a much more reduced visibility, certainly from a distance, but also from proximity. To me, all three of them are preferable to the one you have there as far as visibility goes. As far as intrusion into the skyline, I did see the story poles on Monday. So I saw a fairly complete representation. And as I drove along 246, as coming along here, I could see it. And I could see it all the way down to about here. And then you lose it because it's in repose mostly. And I was focusing on the cars in front of me, which is what any responsible person would be doing. But when you come from this direction, you see it all the way around. So basically you have almost 180 degrees where this thing, almost the entire portion of the structure is in the skyline. There is nothing behind it. And that's a second layer of visibility intrusion that I have an issue with, although that's not one of our findings. That's actually Tina's. You know, so that between the two of them, there's the first level of visibility, just being, you know, how long do you see it and everything else. Then if we start to talk about access, you're talking about existing roads. If we look at alternate site 3, it makes use of the same road that you're making use for your proposed site. And one can infer that it would be shorter. So that right there would be better just from accessibility. The other two sites both have existing roads that basically go right up to it almost. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. So as far as access and the access road and improvements, it seems like all three of the sites tick boxes over the proposed site for me. I understand that because your proposed site is way up on the top of a hillside, you're able to use some gravity feed and it feeds into the actual programming and running of the winery. I have seen, I don't know how many vineyard projects, the majority of which did make use of gravity feed in one way or the other. Based on your comments, it sounds like although there are a lot of constraints here on, I think that's alternate site 2, especially with the amount of area you have, it sounds like you would actually have some ability to put things into a hillside, make use of gravity. The other two areas, 1 and 3, seem to be flatter, so it'd be more of a challenge. They also don't appear to be any of them even close to triggering hillside ridgeline, just based on your presentation. So that's another thing that we don't even have to get into. It doesn't even appear to trigger. As far as the constraints for alternates 1, 2, and 3, you know, this is a very large property. And I was looking at the landscape plan, let's see, this one. And I'm noticing how the landscape plan, you know, they were able to work with the structure and the corral that was already in there. And so given the demonstrated efficiency and talent and skill of your team, both architecture and landscape architecture, it just seems to me that there isn't those are challenges, yes, but it's not anything that we don't normally see folks with this level of skill and everything and ability to approach a site, especially a constrained site. I mean, you have a plethora of options here, and it just seems to me that you could take any of the alternates and make a lovely project. I would like to note that in addition, the alternates, I don't believe are visible. They're visible potentially, or we accept that it's visible from Highway 246. I will mention that on the site visit today, as we were standing up there, at the top of this hillside, not only is it exceptionally and prominently visible from 246, not only does it skyline, but I think it's visible from Santa Rosa Road, which is quite a distance away. And while I haven't been out there to look, I would imagine that, you know, that's just another level of public visibility that would send to me say that the proposed site is not the best one, just based on visibility, because it's got a more distant view as well, at least one that I know of. So while I can respond very well to your plans, the architecture, the style, the materials, your landscape design, the way you're bringing the vines up to the building, everything else. That's all very lovely and I like it, but I just see so many issues, and that's not even getting into grading. If we look at your, oh, this is okay, we can do it here. Oh, sorry. This, where you've got your existing grade here, there is, I know you're talking about working with the slope and everything, but this building is even, I mean, its base floor is not even sitting on the existing grade. You pushed it in, so you're generating more grading, more cut. And the same with this one, it's pushed in. And generally speaking, when I see that, especially with hillside ridgeline, it always makes me feel like you're trying to, although hillside ridgeline isn't triggered, you've demonstrated that, and I think Tina has concluded that, but you're just increasing the grading. And the people who do that in hillside ridgeline projects we see in hillside ridgeline who are doing that, they're doing it to meet the requirement, right? Which in this case, you know, if it was this site was the only one possible, you know, that might be something we would talk about. But in this case, I think it's just generating excess fill or cut, or could potentially be taken to be doing that. And that's not, the amount of grading is, let me be clear, the amount of grading is not in our purview. I'm saying this solely for Tina's benefit and for what she talked about in her memo. Yes.
Can you repeat what you just said?
What I just said was grading quantity is not within our purview. I was speaking to it as pertains to what happens in hillside ridgeline, and for Tina, whose purview it is, and she has to make that finding. So, so for all of those reasons, but principally the visibility issue, I just don't see this as being the optimal site. So those are my comments. Chris and Robin?
I agree with Bethany. It appears this site has to really be manipulated in order to fit your program. And I think the other sites really need to be looked at because of the amount of grading. I do have some glazing issues, landscape. I agree with Bethany, the materials, landscaping, and even the design are all acceptable. However, I think there's some negative aspects that you really need to look at the alternative sites. I coordinated a board where when something did create so much grading, we really took the effort to look at all the other sites. And in some respects, I do understand what John is saying about, you know, there needs to be a certain size to make it even viable. And so,
And I'll be clear, I don't have an issue with the size of your structure or anything and the actual design of it. Those are not issues for me. I think you've handled all of that very well. You've broken things up, done all that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say that I don't have an issue. That's not my issue. My issue is the visibility. So go ahead and finish your
I
comments.
guess, and in agreeing with Bethany, there has to be a balance, I think, and I think we really need to look at the other sites in order to really assess what it is you're proposing and the best way to go about it. But I think I really do like what you've done. And as far as how it looks and how, but it's just, I think there's a lot of negatives that don't balance it out.
I also agree with that. And Robin, I think the building is beautiful. Being up there is, for me personally, is way too visible. Given the fact that we're even looking at item A, 50% building exceeds the height limit. Approaching that site obviously is clearly, and it's not ridgeline, but it is almost ridgeline. Where the lower barn was, having a more unobstructed feels better to me. I guess my other issue is that we can't plant full oak tree to hide it. We're going to use that one and we're doing more for. You can't do full trees up there to block or hide the building. Otherwise, I think the look of the structure is very nice.
Okay. And just to be clear, Chris's comment about it appears that nearly 50% of the building exceeds the height limit. This is likely unsupportable. These were the comments from before, and I was negligent in reading them. The reason I didn't, just for the record and members of the public, is that this was with Hillside Ridgeline and some of the other things you were doing. And so a lot of these don't appeared, but for completeness, I'll go ahead and read them now. Concern with the amount of grading, which we've talked about again today. Add shading to the south facing terrace. I think you did that. The building appears to include, or at least within the courtyard of the building you did. Building appears to intrude into the skyline. The project planner should give this consideration. That we talked about that too. And we did the site visit. So thank you, Chris, for reminding me to read the comments. From last time. Okay, I think that's all of our comments. Applicant or Tina, do you need me to clarify anything we've said today?
Can I make a comment here, which might help us as we go forward? Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, as long as you can keep it to about 2 minutes.
Okay, I think I do. So when we first looked at the site location, it felt great, including the owner. I have to admit, the buildings look more visible than expected. And it may seem, sort of like contrary with the idea that moving the building farther up the hill actually makes it less visible. But I think that there's a distinct possibility that might be the case here. And so what I would like to do is explore, when we're out at the site, you can see that it goes up a fairly steep pitch and then it levels off a little bit, about where that box is right there. Yeah, farther up the hill, yeah, rather than there, because you keep going farther up, looks like it starts, not where it says steep over there, because we want to stay away from that. But that area that's just above the box, where it says areas north of.
Oh, over here.
Right
Yep.
in there.
Mhm.
I started getting the feeling that the building might work better there when I was out of this section.
It's up to you, what you choose to do. You will need to explain to us your thinking and everything else, and we will, probably, I'll just warn you right now, with any of these sites, either the alternates or this one that you're talking about here above the box on the plan, we'll need another round of story polls, but we probably would not ask you to story poll immediately the next time. We would like to see what you come in with plans first, so that you don't go to the expense of story polling and all of that, only to have us say, well, no, we really think it as part of the discussion should be here or there or wherever. We like to kind of get a little better sense of what we're.
We can redo our official photomontage assessment.
Exactly. So you can do a lot of that kind of work in advance before we take that final step of the story poll.
And
So,
it would
okay,
make the road longer, which is one of the things we're trying to avoid, but I think that.
it's up to you. It's your project. We've given you the feedback on what we've seen today. I would also suggest there was one thing that we noticed when we were up there, is that the valley gets a lot of wind, especially in the summer, and comes right up at 3 o'clock every day, right up the San Ynez River, and it was quite windy up there. And so that's something else you might take into consideration when you're siting. It's your wind exposure. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and just gonna close it on this. So, while I pull it up, we're ready for Gala Shop, single family dwelling, swimming pool in Cabana, 22-00195. It's gonna take me a second here to go, but our comments from last time were we cannot support the height exemption request. So let me go ahead and finish closing this out and get that open. And you'll go on with that project. In that one. Okay. Perfect. Let's start with one. So that seems like a good place. Do we have somebody here for that project?
Yeah,
Oh,
we have, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brett Woods here. We are Woods Dangaron, the architects for the project.
Okay,
We
hold
also
on,
have-
just a quick second. Is this where you want to start on this page here?
Sure, yeah, the architecture is pretty straightforward based on the comments from last meeting. We needed to make an adjustment that was an overheightened condition.
Right.
So I'm happy to go right to that to kind of address that concern. So if you look at the portion, more the kind of northwest portion of the building, you'll see where the primary suite is correct. There was a pop out there before, much larger, and it was encroaching into the setback plane or the height limit plane, excuse me. We then went back and revised our design to fit within height limit.
Okay, perfect. Hold on just a second. Okay, we just need to make sure that our last member was on. Okay. So just to recap, the board's comments were we could not support the height exemption request. And you have redesigned this area, which was where it was protruding. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's go to, we remember that. There's your. Okay, so have have your sections been changed, altered?
They've been updated based on the new designs, correct, to show that we're within the height limit.
Right, so this is the area down here.
Correct.
Okay, and you're subject to this first line because you're not, let me just make sure. Yes, the second one would be for a pitch of 4 and 12 or greater, and so we're really looking at this lower line,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay. And slow me down if I start rushing you. I'm just trying to keep up. Okay, so this basically, the footprint and everything didn't change. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here we go. And your light fixtures are the same?
That's correct.
All right. Still got the cans down. These are down lights, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay, and this is. That's your turnaround.
Fire department. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. This is the roof plan. Oops. Sorry, my pinkies are not well calibrated. Okay, and these are details. Windows, door, skylights. All right. Okay, so let's go. Here's your elevations. Do you want to walk me through what's changed and what's the same?
Yeah, everything is exactly the same as before, except for if you go maybe the one more elevation over, if you mind going down a sheet. There we go. Great. So really we're focusing on this back area, exactly the back area there, and also shown on the west elevation here to the left. You'll see where we've adjusted that for the height limit.
Okay. And refresh my memory, what exactly was protruding? Was there like an element that went up straight, or?
Yeah, so originally the actual footprint was out a whole nother bay, which is roughly about 6 feet. So we actually brought the building another 6 feet on that back end.
Right, and it went this way?
Correct.
Down?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you just kind of chopped off that little bit. And
We did. Yeah, we reworked.
okay. All right, so 3. That. No, why don't you just ask him to step away? Okay, so here's our landscaping. Just turn 90. Anything? Irrigation. Notes. Okay. All right. This is your civil, so this is, you want to just walk us through any of the grading? Has anything changed here, or?
None of the grading has changed from the last meeting. The roadway's been designed and stayed consistent.
All right, so does he have the little pop out there, or?
Yep, you see right here, it's been adjusted based on the civil plan.
Okay. Yeah. So this is updated too, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And arborists, yeah. Which will be exactly the same. Like that, and here's your materials. So there's some photos of property, we went through those, and the materials are the same. I seem to remember these. Okay. And these are updated photo cells?
They are updated per your request, yes.
Okay. Okay. So it would be the corner on the back side here that we can't see that we're talking about.
Right.
Okay. It's the connection. All right. So the corner back here is the one we're talking about, right?
Yeah, to the right, yes.
Okay. All right, and then the last one, this is landscape lighting.
The landscape architect is on if there's any questions as well.
Okay. Does the landscape architect have anything to add to their?
Hi, this is Chris Sosa, the landscape architect from Chris Sosa Landscape Architecture. And so nothing on the lighting has changed. The new document that was added to this set, we basically taken, the design that was previously reviewed in the planting illustrative plans, and we've translated that into the planting and irrigation construction documents. But yeah, the lighting has not changed.
This is the irrigation,
Right.
and these are your planting.
Yeah. So we took the same concept. We provided a minimum of 39 mitigation 24-inch box oak trees, valley oaks, and coast live oaks. Same planting areas that we had reviewed previously, and same plant palette as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm happy to get into more detail if you'd like me to, or if you have specific questions.
Nope, not at this point. Any questions from the board?
I just do have, Chris, a quick question about your symbols. Just back to the planning plan really quick. You know how you have them just sort of diagrammatically set in there, like the 1 gallons and everything in it? Is that in a grouping? Is that how that's going to be?
They're intended to be individual shrubs, so the symbols that are used on the plans are intended as individual plants. And it would be within that grouping of plants that we're showing.
Oh, I see. And so it would be kind of like at the time of planting, you would be kind of site selecting them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We
Thank
made
you.
an effort to group like plants, and both in like the material type and also sort of how they're being used in the landscape. We grouped them together on the legend.
Right. And so during installation, you'll have that flexibility.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Is
that does bring up a comment, because we're the person who has to go out and do conformance. You've got one symbol essentially for all 4 of these different plants. That's what you're asking about,
Yeah.
Denise, right? And so it becomes, there is a huge difference between an iris and a rhamnus in far as size. And so one symbol is not sufficient to really show on the plan how they work together. Because you're talking about 4 or 5 feet, and then you're talking about 12 or 18 inches. And the BAR guidelines actually say that you should have all your locations and plants identified essentially by discrete symbols. So this could be a little bit of a problem here. So let me just look at.
I thought it meant that you were assembling everything all together in that group. That's how I was visualizing it.
Yeah,
So
but
clarifying it.
they need to be.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that before we were doing. Do you have your Wello calc on here? There it is.
Yes. If you zoom in into the upper right, you can see where those calcs are.
Yeah. What's the difference between the top one and the bottom?
The results are on the bottom. We have the maximum allowed and then the estimated total water use.
The county actually has a form that they want you to use.
Oh, okay.
And it's in their landscaping guidelines. They give you the spreadsheet so that it's, although I appreciate the fact that you have a lot of very explanatory information in here. And that's nice, but, yeah. Let's see. And I'm not sure why there's two. That one's drip. They're all drip. I'm not sure why. Not sure why there's two of these charts. It should all be on one chart. Okay. So, perfect. And thank you for answering the question and clarifying that. Any other questions? Okay, member of the public?
Let's see. We do not have anybody in audience today. We do have two people that joined us online. If you do want to speak on this item, please raise your hand. We do not have any public speaker for this item.
Okay. This item is here for, final, right. So there's some issues, some technical issues in the landscaping plans that need to be addressed, I think, before it can have final. Yeah, definitely. And I would say right now that I don't have any issues with architectural drawings. They can, and I don't even actually see the need for the architect to really be here at consent, because there are absolutely no issues for me on the architecture. How about everybody else?
Agreed.
Yeah. So while I'm not
With that.
saying to the architect that they shouldn't be here at consent, I'm saying I really don't see a big need for it. What we're talking about is, we don't have any consent items today, but typically, at the very beginning of the agenda, we'll deal with consent items, and it's usually for something like, you didn't have this marked, or you just had to change a color, or, something like that. So I think the landscape plans need to show discrete symbols for each plant that they're proposing, and quantities and sizes for them. And so instead of 66 of 4 different plants being the potential, I think you need to actually identify those quantities and those locations, so that we can just look at it and go, yep, check, we see those on the plan. And then when you're on site, if you need to move them around a little bit, that's acceptable, but that's well within, responding to site conditions. But we do need to know how many you're going to plant of each one, instead of just 66 of these 4 plants. So break it out, how many you're going to have of each one, and a discrete symbol for each plant type, each name. And then on your irrigation, check with the county. They'll be able to give you, your planner will be able to give you that spreadsheet, because this is otherwise an excellent plan set, very complete, and I'd compliment you on it. Very nicely done. But there's an explanation in there for that. So once you do that, we should be good to go. And what I'll do is I'll be interested in seeing it. Do submit the entire set, because if you just submit the revised planting or landscape, that may be what the planner passes through to us, and the project can't be split. So we'll need to see the architectural. So just resubmit the same architectural set with the updated landscaping to the planner, all in one go. Your materials and everything else, because essentially it's the same as today. We need to have that complete package so that the final approval gets done all at once. All right. You guys have any questions? Okay, to the applicant, do you have any questions?
I don't. Thank you for your comments.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all clear about what's going to happen. So we won't take any action. We just will look to see for you on consent So, and you can go ahead, and you probably already know this, but you can go ahead and start your building submittals for permits and all that kind of stuff. And so we shouldn't hold you up as far as that process. Okay, item number 4, Efron new single family dwelling, 22 bar 00104. I'll read the comments as I'm opening up the plans. So concerned about light trespass due to the quantity of glazing, reduce the quantity of glazing substantially, particularly in the direction where structures face other areas of the valley. Considering adding a darkening agent to the glass. Windows are large and vary in size. The proportion, pattern, and size are not fully resolved. The roof cantilever on the garage areas, the roof cantilever on the garage appears out of proportion with the structure, feeling structurally unsupported. Consider adding posts. Rather than having hardscape abut structures, recommend softening of east and north side of the hardscape landscape. All right. So let me go ahead and get you guys this project open here. And okay, we have somebody here for this.
Yeah, good morning, Bethany, Tony Cano here.
Okay. So where do you want to start? I've got 3 things with number 1. This is your arc set, your civil set, and your structural set.
Yeah,
Where do you want to?
probably the arc set, just to address the light trespass and our willingness to reduce the amount of glazing over the last year. So we've felt like since the first review, we've reduced the glazing upwards of 20%. So I did have an exhibit there that shows our latest reduction of the glazing for the concerns on the light trespass within this architectural set. And then to address the roof cantilever, that's been removed from the project. So we've got a clean roof line. And I think you'll notice from building to building, whether it's the main house, detached garage, or the barn, we're utilizing the same profile of 24 feet wide, 6 and 12 roof pitch. So detailing and things are very clean, and you'll see some of those details further on in the set. So I think if we go ahead and continue on to that same set there to the elevations.
This is your main house.
Yes, correct. And if there's any concern for heights, we also have site sections that show our roof lines and so forth. But I believe that's been addressed in previous meetings.
It's always a good idea to keep it on the
I'm sorry,
to
Bethany.
keep it on the elevations though.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you're breaking
my
up.
internet.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
That's clear for now, but I missed most of the comment.
What I started to say is that it's a good idea to keep the height information, like ridge line, where you've projected it and all of that. If you're subject to hillside ridge line, it's a good idea to keep it in the set, even if it's already been determined that you're in compliance. It's good to just carry that through. That's all.
Yes. So what we've done is due to the grading elevations and so forth, if you continue on, I think there's a sheet A4-4 that is tied specifically to the civil. Oh, lost you.
Yep, we did. It kicked me out.
Oh, sorry.
Time for Starlink.
Yeah, and should not hear. Can you guys still hear us?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened was earlier in the meeting, it kicked off the P&D computer, and it just kicked off mine. So hold on just a second while I go ahead and see if I can rejoin. Take me a second. This box. There's the Zoom. Yeah. Oh, that's box 2. Sorry, I'm looking for the Zoom. Invite. There we go. No, that's 6. Where the heck was my Zoom invite?
It's the last one.
You guys can't see my screen, thank you.
Tony, in your floor plan, I know it's not on the screen right now, but I'm trying to get to it. Is north to the left?
To the left, yes. Is that
Okay.
Denise?
Yeah,
Hey
hi,
there, how are you?
good. How are you?
I'll be
Where
better
the
when I
heck
get
is-
through final.
It's a warm one today.
Yes.
That's box. It booted me, Teresa. Yeah, and I can't get back. I can't find my Zoom invite. It's not your fault. Not your fault.
Only if you walk away.
Yes, please do. Just email it to me. Oh, that was it. There it is.
What happened?
Shortly after. We were humming along excitedly. Okay, yeah.
You can still hear us though?
Yeah, because yours is still up.
I'm gonna share my screen.
No. No, I'm in now. Am I in?
Yes.
All right, hold on just a second. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Oh, you need to let me share. We did need you. Ah, there we go. Okay, so this one. Nope, not that one. This one. All right, can we see it?
We are back.
We're back, new and improved. Okay,
So I left off
So-
with this sort of the comment about the building heights as it relates to the elevations or
Right.
In my case, I chose to tie it to the civil. So we have site sections there on A4-4.
right, I was getting there when it went, you're
Yeah,
out of here.
that's right.
There we go, yeah.
So you can clearly see, you know, if you care to zoom in, that the buildings fit within those envelopes.
Oh, yeah, we can clearly see it, I think.
Okay, all right,
There's
great.
those lines, and there's this one here. That one.
Yeah, in section F there at the bottom, there's relative to the detached garage. So we had lowered the pad elevation to be certain that that roof line is at the maximum height
Okay,
or falls, excuse me.
underneath it,
Height.
yeah.
Yes, uh-huh.
got it,
Okay,
okay.
and
And
then,
here's your vision summary.
yeah, here's our main house renderings. I think there's a secondary sheet there too, just to give the board a comprehensive look. Then how it relates to the detached garage there.
Here,
Yeah, so there was a previous comment about a roof cantilever, which was previously part of the detached garage. That's now been eliminated.
okay,
So if you care to zoom in, or there's specific elevations for the detached garage further on.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah,
This
there.
is the-
Yeah, this is the garage here.
Okay, and it's got the double level, yeah.
Yeah, it gives us an opportunity for some utilities below grade, so we don't have unsightly things collected
Got
on the structure.
And this is the ADU, which we don't need to look at.
Right. This is our ag building, which is at the north end of the property. And all of these buildings are fairly close to existing grade. There is some grading due to the access drive from one end to the other. And so we've reviewed that in the past as well. As I mentioned in my opening comment, these buildings are very consistent from one building to the next. And what we've chosen to do is to have an integral rain gutter. So there won't be an attachment there directly to to the side of the building.
Okay,
And that will match the finish of our standing seam roofing.
okay,
And then there's our lighting plan for exterior lighting. You'll see various locations there, which we had reviewed before. You're welcome to look at the material board for our specific light fixture.
and this is not a light fixture here at the end of the pool, that's the pool
No,
cover, right?
yeah, just electrical to the pool cover, correct.
Got it,
There's our light fixture there to the lower left-hand corner for each of the buildings. We've tried to minimize it just based on the need for the building code.
okay,
And I think one of the other comments that we had previously was the landscape lighting, which we'll see further in the landscape set.
okay. Do you wanna talk about, this is a glazing reduction set, did you wanna talk about this at all, or?
Yeah, since that was one of the initial comments, which has been, again, just to reiterate, this is a fabulous site with some tremendous views. So we've complied with the board's wishes to reduce the glazing, and this was our second go around at doing such reductions. So you're looking at the bedroom wing there to the left, and then in the foreground is the living space. And so what I did is I tried to quantify each of those reductions in each one of those subsequent elevations.
Okay,
Yeah, here's further reductions here. At one time, some of those windows went completely to the floor, and we've brought them up to coincide with, with some furnishings. And in that case, there's a fireplace, gas appliance.
and like this reduced here, and,
Yeah, we've reduced that by nearly a third, right? So that is a single door with a pivot door. And then on that lowest elevation, we substantially reduced the amount of glazing there to nearly half.
okay. All right,
Let's see this building here, the garage. You can see we've eliminated quite a bit of glass from this building here.
okay. Good, and I think that was the last one.
Yes.
Here's your civil.
So we've worked with our planner, Aaliyah Vosberg, quite significantly throughout the process over the last few months. And I would like to think that we've met all those concerns, or have addressed them at least. And then the landscape, I think, was the last item that we had some work to do. And there was also some work to do with our tree protection plan and addressing some of the specifics for trees within the grading areas.
With the structural, I'm just going through the set before we leave
Yeah.
architecture. I thought
Sure.
because you are also here for final today.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's all those. Did you want to talk about your materials board?
I do, just to sort of reiterate the simple profile of each building. It's consistent from structure to structure. So you see our lighting element there. We are entertaining vertical siding, as you know, whether it's a natural wood or a painted surface. It's really just a matter of budget and construction these days. We've got to consider some options, but the photo in the upper left-hand corner will give you a great example of what we're leaning towards. And then in those areas where we're following existing grade, we like to use board formed concrete walls so that we get some added texture. And that's the photo there in the center.
Okay,
Landscape, we hope to hold it to a minimum. So the landscape feel there in the upper right-hand corner is a bit of a taste or an inspiration photo that we use to establish our our landscape. And the
do you
idea,
have I'm looking at your materials board and I'm not seeing,
oh, I lost you again.
yeah. Oh, back in. Okay. Okay, you got me back yet, Tony?
No, I don't see your screen share.
Well, I haven't shared it yet, so
I see you.
how about that?
It looks like it's loading. Yes.
Okay. I'm not seeing call outs for the colors and materials.
Well,
Like-
these, yeah, as I said, the photos to the left would be our materials. And again, it's, there aren't many. It's the window trim, the wood siding, and the metal.
Right,
Yeah.
but usually what we have is, we have some actually, you're actually calling out your colors, like untinted concrete, and you're saying, that this is either found timber or, but we have some actual colors and materials, and usually they're noted also on the elevations. I mean, that's been a standard requirement for ever, basically. So,
Well,
have you
yes.
decided what those materials are gonna be, or?
Yes, it's my intention to use the color board as you see it.
Right,
And
but I
because-
mean, there's no,
because we're in high fire, we plan to use the Aspire there, which is a James Hardy product.
this,
Yeah, I've got it noted there just below the photo. So the Aspire vertical siding, Urbane bronze is the color. So, if the board is willing, we can include all of those call outs as part of our final upon consent.
yeah, that would be fine, but yeah, your board, your color board needs to note, the bronze and so it needs to have all those final colors, and then you need to also show them on your elevations. So that there's, a materials thing that calls out and identifies all the, oh, I'm gonna lose you again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm in again.
Still connected.
It's because we have so many people on the Wi-Fi here.
Oh,
It's overloading their router.
oh.
I will next time, but right now, yeah. And next time, what I'll do is I'll put it through my phone. I'll do my own hotspot. Okay, are we back? Here we go.
Yes, we are back.
Okay, so so that would be my thing is just make sure you have a little box in here on each of the elevation sheets that says, Aspire, bronze, whatever, siding, and just the typical things. I'm teaching you to
Yes.
suck eggs here. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay, so let's get landscape before, I totally get messed up here again. Okay, so it's like, here's our landscape. This is irrigation.
Yeah, we have Anthony Ojeda from Plain Ear. If there are any specific questions to do with the landscape.
Okay. Anthony, you want to walk us through the plan real quick, or has it changed at all since the last time we looked at it, or anything you want to say?
No, nothing has changed. No, nothing has changed since the last time we brought it in. The only thing that changed was a little bit of the landscape lighting, and also the tree protection plan.
Okay. Well, let me just keep scrolling down there.
Yeah, there was a need for additional information on landscape lighting, which
Okay.
we're wanting to keep to a minimum just to get path of travel lit up to the entryways.
Okay.
This is,
So-
yeah, this is the start here.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's
you
one
wanna-
sheet and then there's another sheet. But this one, pretty standard, just downlighting, a couple path lights, and some wall lights that will go in within the steps of the entryway.
Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. Let me just, there we go. Okay, so these are your path lights, the G1s. The G3s are those wall lights you were mentioning, and then 2 is downlight.
Yes, that's correct.
So these would be hung in this tree, is that what I'm inferring?
Yes, that'd be correct.
Okay.
And they're all dark sky compliant. And they all, like I said, point downwards,
Got it,
we know no light pollution whatsoever.
right, that's the same.
Yeah, that's
And same thing here, just a couple of downlights and then a few path lights, and that's it, mainly it.
Okay. And these are this is your path light. And how tall is this?
Mhm. 18 inches, I have to verify that again, but 12 or between 12 and 18 inches, I need to verify that.
Okay. And this is the step. Wall step, and then the
Yeah.
down light. Oh, just a little pendant, okay. 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 So does that conclude your guys' presentation? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, there was some requirements or requests from our planner in terms of tree protection. So we've that was modified to include some of the other trees within the grading areas.
We did look at it.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
we did see it
Uh-huh.
briefly on screen. It should be this one here.
yeah, nothing's happening on the screen here.
Just sharing our screen. It's not moving well.
Yeah, it kicked me out again. Hold on a second. Oh, it totally kicked me out. There we go. Yeah, yeah. Let me share again. Okay,
Yeah, I just
Should
didn't
come
want
up
to
with
overlook. You asked if there was something we hadn't reviewed, and it's yeah, there you go, tree protection.
okay, and what was added? Was it
Um,
There
planner
there were
had
just a few trees that were
Yeah.
added, because of the grading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like in here.
But for the most part, yes, that's correct. But for the most part, I mean, we're still only removing about 3 oaks. So,
Got it.
yeah, and at least 2 of them are already severely old and diseased. So,
Okay. All right, anybody, Puck, you want to start since I didn't have you last time?
I think the applicant has done a reasonable job eliminating some windows, reducing other windows, the exterior lighting, I think meets all the guidelines. And I'm glad to see the elimination of the overhang on the garage. So those are my only comments.
Okay. I'm gonna go back, ask for public comment since I forgot to.
We do not have anybody in the audience, but we do have 2 people that are online. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand.
Not seeing anything.
Not seeing anything, so,
Okay.
we don't have public comment.
Thanks, Puck. Who's next?
Just real quick, on the previous comment, right next to on the enlarged planting plan, where at the pool deck, and the pool deck kind of, is that concrete?
Yes.
It's concrete. It abuts to the north elevation of the building, and I think we were suggesting maybe softening that with a planter a little bit. It looks like that maybe you're thinking that's not needed. And then, because there's quite a bit of deck out there, and on a day like this, it's gonna be pretty, it'll feel pretty glary.
Anthony, you
quite-
wanna,
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I follow.
it's actually a question for Anthony.
Yeah.
They do have a
Do you
planter.
see what I'm talking about? If you zoom in where the pool is, in between the pool.
you have to zoom in a
and,
lot, actually.
It's just that elevation isn't softened by any planter, and the concrete is abutting it, and we were suggesting maybe to soften that with a planter as a recommendation.
Yeah, we actually have, that planter, there was not there previously, neither was the planting there at the proposed residence title. So we've added that landscaping as well as the further landscape to the north of the pool.
Okay.
Yeah, we felt the same, so we wanted to help soften that, but directly to the north of that is a gorgeous oak tree outcropping, so that's going to be one of the main focuses aesthetically, so we wanted to enhance that with the landscaping.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Robin?
I agree with that, reduction and glazing is appreciated. And I was wondering if you considered darkening the glazing.
I'm sorry, who's making the comment?
That was Robin, and she's asking, did you consider adding any kind of darkening agent to the glazing, the glass?
We have, and I think we talked about that the last time. How does one go about gauging what the tinting will be without giving up too much of the view? But yes, we have considered it.
Okay, well, for any tinting, are you going to do any? Are you going to do a small percentage or, all of that? I mean, do you have anything to respond to? Can you give Robin a yes or no?
Yes, I do. So other than talking to our energy consultant, it's always going to be wise to try to minimize UV and thermal gain. So we will have a tinting agent in the glass to help avoid that. And most often you have a low E coatings either way for California Energy Commission requirements. Yes.
Okay, can I make a request, Tony, that you go ahead and have that either a pictorial sample or something like that on your materials board and identified?
And so what you're looking for, what is percentage of tinting or?
Yeah, whatever it is you're gonna do, so that if you, so you can, you know, even if it's just your standard low E coating, if you could go ahead and put that. I know it's a little above and beyond, but if you could add that to the colors material board, I think it would help.
Okay. Point well taken.
Chris?
Good.
Okay, I also have nothing to add. I agree with what Puck and Denise and Robin has said before, so. You guys should return final on consent with those very, very minor issues worked out. Landscaping's fine. It seems to be a nice complete set. And the architecture, absent the few things that I remarked on about colors and materials, the whole set looks very nice and complete, so. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes,
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
Amy, bye.
hey Puck. Hi.
I'm going to check out. Bye.
Hey, hold on a second. Can we keep you so we can do the minutes real quick?
Oh, sure.
Well,
Can we do, I guess it would be 3 and 4 first, then I can recuse myself.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can.
and Denise too.
Anything.
So when you want to go ahead and, I'm actually gonna check out here.
Oh, you wanna go to breakfast?
I was going to.
Okay, you can. Okay, I hope I did a good job taking notes.
It's
I
fine.
tried to just write down everything, so if it's too much, just tell me to delete stuff.
No, we will.
Okay,
This is why we do this now.
good, and this is very smart. Can you give her,
Oh, here. Make co-host,
yeah,
okay?
okay, thank you. All right, so starting with item.
Perfect.
Okay, this was for, Galashaw.
Right,
Can you guys see up there?
we can.
Okay, A through B, so just. Don't hold back.
Return final and consent. Yep,
That's okay.
got it. It looks excellent. I think that's exactly right. Anybody, Puck? Look good to you?
Yeah, that looks
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
4?
Very good. Here's 4. Oh, let me try to get it on one page. Is
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. Just scroll up a little bit. There you go.
that all right like that? Ooh, that.
I think they did have some hillside ridgeline.
Okay,
So, so you can, they should show, if hillside ridgeline is applicable, you can start off that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Are applicable, and then you can take out not. Yeah, that's fine.
Applicable.
Show. The,
Height information.
yes,
Yeah.
height information,
Okay.
graphically
I got you.
depict compliance on
Yeah.
elevations and sections. How's that?
Perfect.
That's basically what I tried to
Thank you.
say.
Okay, perfect.
There we go. Okay, so show colors and materials information on elevations. Color board and elevation should include. You could just say color board and elevation should include all final colors and materials. That's perfect. Take out the first sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna send this again later, so we can.
No.
Okay.
You could just say applicant has reduced and eliminated glazing.
Glazing
Yeah.
to a sufficient extent.
There we go. Perfect, Puck. See, this is why you had to
That's enough
stay.
for this whole bullet? Or should I keep any of the rest?
I don't think you need any
Take
rest.
out the
Okay.
rest.
You could say reduction in it. Yeah, take out the rest.
Okay. There we go.
Consider adding.
What's the sample?
Depict all darkening agents, etc., on the color board.
Great.
And then eliminate E.
Okay.
Right, yep. And you could say depict all glazing,
Same bullet D.
yep, because we need to be specific. We know what we're talking about, but nobody else will.
And darkening agents?
Just, it's
No, it's
darkening
the
of
same
the
thing.
glazing, so take out and,
Oh, gotcha. Glazing darkening agents?
yeah,
Okay, perfect. I'll get rid of E, right?
yep.
Okay. Perfect.
On the enlarged planting plan.
This wasn't pretty bad, I'm sorry.
That one they complied with, so you can take that one out.
Okay. Great.
Yep, and then it's, yes, Puck,
Do we, I mean, I always like to compliment people, but I think,
we don't need it.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think we need that.
Yeah.
It's a little wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was starting to say.
Okay.
Project to return for final approval on the consent agenda. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Puck. Denise, you may abscond.
Thank you.
Scarper, only
Okay,
one of the
there's a
steps.
lot on this one.
Okay, so, story, that's as if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 stories. These are
Oh,
story,
is that right?
yes,
Okay, so it's just like that?
it's just like that because we are telling a story.
Oh, I thought it was like you're showing.
No,
Okay.
it's an easy inference, but just so you know, that's why it's
And I
story.
wonder if I did include this in the comments. Yeah, let me know what you think.
You can make it as a declaration
Okay.
that I saw a majority, my screen's gonna go. The chair Clough drove by the site and saw a majority
Okay.
earlier this week.
Okay. You want me to keep 246 in there?
You can take it out.
Okay.
On B, do you actually have extremely visible or is that the only out of our? Out of our.
We need to take, we need to say project site is extremely visible from Highway 246
In several places.
in both directions. In close proximity and from a distance.
I was surprised.
I wasn't,
I know.
because I drove by.
You're gone, so.
Project. You could say Santa Rosa Road, traffic on Santa Rosa Road is visible from the site. Therefore, project is visible from Santa Rosa Road. Okay, and my thing has pooped out, so.
We can see it.
I said,
How's that?
therefore, it's visible back the other way. We can see the traffic on Santa Rosa Road can see us.
And you think they would want it for
They're on privacy.
Okay, let's finish up the cut. Oops.
G.
Oh, that's right. Mine's not showing anymore. We're going to give you, do you have an HDMI port? No, yours is showing fine. It's just not showing here.
Oh, I see.
All right. There we go. Okay.
I'm gonna look at there.
Okay, so if you go back to B, can you scroll up? Okay, so right under B, in a separate,
Bullet.
yeah,
Okay.
the story polls. I'm gonna throw you a bunch of words and then we'll wordsmith it, but what I want to talk about is the skylighting. The story polls demonstrate that 90% plus of the project skylines from 246. So you guys, because you drive the whole thing skylines, it doesn't get better.
No, that's clear.
You know, and then when you come from the other direction, it skylines that way too.
Does that sound okay?
How about if we say demonstrate that 90% or more?
Okay, I was gonna say, don't make it so specific.
Okay, yeah.
That's okay.
Do we need to say in both directions?
Yes, I think that's what you said.
Yeah. And can we say the story polls demonstrate that 90% or more of the project skylines continuously when viewable?
And you.
Okay, viewed, thank you. How's that?
That's good. And the 50% over that comment that was in there for the last time.
That was a different, it was a,
That's a different.
it's a different deal, and it had to do with the fact that they were triggering Hillside Ridgeline, and they're not anymore. I mean, they had 2 stories and it was extreme.
Got it.
You didn't see that. Regarding this, all the action sites are, okay. How about, do we want to say regarding visibility from Highway 246? Okay, because what I want to talk about is, if you say all 3 alternative sites are better and preferable, why?
But we don't even know that for sure.
Because we haven't seen it.
Yeah, and we haven't,
Right, so I think we take out regarding
did say that.
visibility.
we did say it,
Well, I think,
or considered preferable.
Other sites.
no, hold on a second, because I'm talking about how visible and for how long. And that's why I actually said, I very carefully and specifically said, it was my comment, I said, the other sites have less of an intrusion and visibility because it's not all the way around, it's not up there, and they aren't skylining. So, but I think what we need to say is that the 3 alternative sites have less intrusive visibility, or less intrusively visible, while maintaining
That's intrusive visibly, yeah. And a referral.
Yeah, take out the while maintaining. And are preferable to the proposed site. Okay. Okay. Skyline, structures of project. Okay, so you can take out F. Because I think we already made that point, unless we want to strengthen the one up above.
Okay.
Okay, take it out. Okay, the 3 alternative sites. All use existing access points off 246. And unlike the proposed site, none require steep or additional access.
Yeah.
None require a similar steep additional access. And are therefore the alternatives are preferred.
Okay.
Okay. 3 alternative sites all use existing access points off 5T, and unlike the proposed site, none require a similar none require additional access over steep hillside.
Over a steep hillside.
That reads better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's good, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna delete G.
So hold on a second before you do that. Do you think that, because I did talk about the other sites, should we add G to the end of that, or does that F take care of it? I'm okay with that and eliminating G, but
Yeah, it's the same.
it's just more specific.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, G breaks it down each site and talks about the access roads. So should we include that information as a tail? I did. Well, I'm comfortable with leaving just F in and taking G out, but I just want to make sure you guys are okay with it. Kristen,
G isn't necessary.
okay, take it out. Great notes, by the way, Glenn. I always prefer it when you have lots of extra.
Okay, good, and then you can.
I can always, you
Good.
can eliminate.
Okay, good.
Now, there was one site. I think you could take out G. I was talking about, I don't know if you're aware, the wineries, a lot of times the reason they want these 2-story buildings and they want things pushed in is because they want a gravity feed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they need that fall. Okay, so what they do is, that's one of the reasons, that was part of their case for having,
Yeah.
you know, those buildings up like that. And so G is talking about the fact that, I think it was number 2. Number 2 was back in that little canyon and constrained because of the canyon and the oaks and chaparral and everything. And I said, but it's got a steep hillside right there and they could push it into it. They could make use of that
Yeah.
hillside with gravity feed.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, but I think we can take it out.
Okay.
It was just me kind of,
Yep, giving them supportive, yeah.
well, I was just kind of trying to head it off at the pass, because
Yeah.
I know they're gonna come back and, well, we can't gravity feed on you, they're too flat.
Okay, so I'm gonna delete G then.
Yeah, do it. Okay, I'd say the alternate sites appear. Hillside Ridgeline does not appear to be triggered by the alternate routes. Can we help you, sir?
That's Ben.
Oh, here's Ben.
You know Ben, right?
No, I
He's
haven't.
one of the planners.
No, I don't think we have.
I don't think we have, it's still gonna point test, but
Okay,
Okay, hillside ridgeline guidelines may not be triggered, is that what it was, by the alternative site?
yeah,
Okay. Should there be-
I would say do not instead of may.
Okay, yeah,
are you sure? I like.
Do not
I don't
appear,
think so. At least not the one that's down in that hole or the one down by the road.
and the barn one either. They,
No, that one.
yeah.
No, I like the one.
Hillside Ridgeline isn't triggered by a rise, it's only triggered by a drop.
Yeah, but
So if there isn't a drop, they can have mountains next to them.
Got it. So it's semantic.
within 100 feet.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, I take out H.
okay,
You can move the current H up, where we're talking about visibility.
yeah, up here,
Do you need us?
Dude has all his stuff right there.
okay, to move the whole bullet point like, maybe
You
here?
could just add it to that one, maybe.
Yeah, let's just do that,
There we go.
okay,
Okay, so let's go back down to H.
okay, here we are.
Base floor building pushing down, so it is generating more cut.
Oh,
I would say grading could be reduced if the building is placed differently on the site. Let's just do this, take out H and I, but before you do that, guys, we could just say, we have concerns about the grading amounts generated by the proposed building site.
Which we said at the first meeting.
Generated.
Uh-huh.
Site?
Uh-huh,
Okay, next, and I'll get rid of H and I.
yes.
Okay, perfect.
You know, typing was one of the best electives I ever took in high school.
It's useful.
Oh. I'm not nearly as fast as you are, but yeah. I would say you can take out I,
Mhm.
and J is a holdover from last time, isn't it? Because I think we've
We just touched that.
okay,
Okay, so I and J,
yeah.
okay.
But the lower barn was unobstructed, which is better. Okay, so what I was talking about, I think you tell me if this is where that generated. I pulled up the landscape plan and I said, look, because they were talking about how all these other, they were talking about how, you know, the chaparral and the oaks and the hillside and the valley and the barn on these alternate sites were constrained.
Mhm.
We can't work around them because they exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
actually, I'll come back to that in a second. So then they went ahead and I zoomed in on the landscape plan and I showed that existing structure from the site visit.
Yeah,
Which you didn't get to see because you didn't
Yes,
make it there.
but you, yeah.
But what I said was, they are you've demonstrated you have the ability to work around existing
Yeah.
structures.
Yeah,
So, I think
you
that's.
just like, be better now.
Yes.
You can do it.
So I think we could take I and J, but I think we need to say that it is our belief that this is my belief. You can type or not, but it's our belief that the demonstrated skill and ability of the design team which should be able to overcome the obstacles of the alternative sites, something like that, because it's like, I'm saying, I believe that they could use any of the alternative sites. Okay, then we'll take it out. Take out
Sounds good.
I, J, and K.
Okay.
I think we kind of put the point on the board that.
Yeah.
we want us.
Yep. Another round of storage space will be needed for,
Because you really have to send this.
we'll say another round of story poles will be needed. Period. The BAR, just put it, return to CBAR to discuss other locations before story poles are installed.
Yeah.
No consider.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
You know, I just let your comment ride that say,
Mhm.
one of you guys, I think, talked about Jay, the oak trees and stuff. And, I'll talk, I think it was Chris.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about this, but the basic thing is, and the reason I didn't touch it is because planting is, the building has to stand on its own.
Yeah.
Planting is ephemeral as far as we're concerned, because it dies. The buildings are essentially forever kind of a thing. So we don't, I think we can take that out if you're comfortable with that.
The merits of the building, you can soften it, with landscapers, but we don't.
I think you take J out.
Perfect, okay.
Okay.
We can't.
I thought they were trying to hide. the big trees.
Well, they
Probably are.
Yeah, in the photo sims they were. Yeah. Well, then in future, you might say, photo sims are not as descriptive as possible because they appear to have trees placed in front of the building. When really what we're trying to show is what would it look like if we built it right now? Right, yeah. So that's,
Unless it's cannabis. though.
Okay.
okay, architecture style, size, materials and landscape design of the project is acceptable. I can take out and
Yeah.
lovely.
Great.
Yep, and then the wind is the last comment. You could say, consider the impacts of wind on, no, it's really for all of them, on any,
That's better.
on this site,
I was in the building.
yeah. And it just that, leave it that way.
Okay.
Okay. So,
And then one more, this, I got
discussion
some
item?
comments on this one. I don't know if we want to have comments on here.
Okay, you can take out in favor,
Okay.
just put his, that he
Okay.
spoke.
Perfect.
So, people have speaker slips, and
Yeah.
sometimes on the speaker slips, they will say opposed, in favor, no position.
Oh, okay.
And
So that's-
sometimes they leave it blank.
Okay.
So unless somebody actually ticks it, just,
Smart.
we list what they need. And the reason, I'll tell you why, this is information, this is too much information, but the reason we do not try to capture their comments is because whatever we write is wrong. Because they'll come back and say, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean
the right
that.
way, Yeah.
You know, so there was a court decision a while ago, maybe a decade ago, and they said, no, so planning commission or supervisors, nobody tries to capture what public comment was,
Okay.
and then we can only put in favor, no position, no that.
Okay, if they weren't there. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Denise Johns and Alan Corn expressed interest in serving as representative.
Okay.
You can take out, CBAR, okay, and then just say, CBAR members prefer that both members serve as representatives.
Mhm.
Yep, perfect, that's
Okay.
perfect.
And you think A is all right? See.
Yeah, you can, well, you can leave instead of only one member, that's fine too. Yep,
Okay, you think that looks all right?
Yep.
Andy, okay, perfect. Thanks,
Sound good? okay, the one last thing that, just to note, you don't need to put it in here, but you do need to note that, you need to get the contact info
Yes,
for our responses to come to,
for,
so Teresa can
Zoe.
give it to us.
Okay, do you need something from me to do that?
We just need their email so that we can forward it.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're collecting, if the county needs to be official and wants to put them in a box or, you know, however it is they want to do it.
I will work with
Okay, okay.
Cool, thank you all.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
That was Robin.
Too fast.
All in favor?
Mhm.
Close this down.
Okay.
12 o'clock.